So it's about 6 a.m. now. We've just gotten up. We're busy wrapping our feet and bandaging them up from the blisters. I finished mine. I probably have about 7 or 8 in total that needed some TLC. So hopefully the bandages and everything will help for the rest of the day. But yeah, we're getting ready now. We're packing up. We know what's ahead of us with that steep climb, and hopefully we can get that down nice and early, so the rest of the day is more gentle towards the end of the day and towards the third day's hut. Yeah, we'll see how it goes, and now it's time to get ready and make sure we get out of here as soon as possible.
I think something to remember on this hike, it is quite challenging. So make sure that you take a lot of breaks, because you need your muscles to rest as well. When you feel your muscles start getting tired, rather take a 5-minute break and just relax, because your muscles will be very sore. So yeah, maybe it's just something to keep in mind.
So we're here on the morning of the third day. We've broken away from the group a bit to get a bit of a head start, because we end up a bit at the back usually during the end of the day. So we want to see if we can just take it easy but get ahead a bit, and the rest of the group will probably catch up with us. The camp was in the back there. Now we're hiking back up the river towards those cliffs with the chains. So we'll see you there. Trail we blaze. So we're approaching the first few chains here, and soon you guys have a good idea of what it looks like going up, and we'll try and get some shots going down. How you feeling, Daniel?
I like to keep my weight close.
Yeah.
I got Michael soon.
Alright, so as you guys can see, just over the edge there, we have some folks coming up. We're already waiting on top. And up's always easier than down, for me at least.
Yeah.
But it is pretty steep. So prepare yourselves, and if the ladies are feeling a bit unconfident with backpacks, make sure you go help them. Soon we're going up there. So this was the first of the chains, and we're going to be attempting the second and third. The third one's pretty easy. There are a few smaller chain sections in between, but we don't really count those, so we'll see. We came from the right yesterday, but there's a route up here to the left that we can also take. It's pretty steep though with a chain, so Daniel's going up to scout for us, and we'll see which way we're going to take back today. How's it looking there, Dan? Okay, so we've made it to the final steep chain climb, which we had to come down from yesterday. So everyone's starting up there. So this one from the top down is quite daunting. Found it a challenge at first, but it's actually not that bad. So it's better just to get on with it. Obviously be safe, but we'll grab you a couple of shots of how it looks, and then also from the top down.
And shout out to Daniel for carrying my bag up these cliffs.
Thanks, Dan. Sniper Dan.
Saying I have to carry my bag.
Hey Armand, yo sexy ball. Killed elves. Hey Alden, you are off the chain.
You know what I really like is when I find a piece of apricot in my.
As you guys can see, that's pretty steep.
Here, hold this.
Well done, Storm.
Is there going to be another chain? Cut my hair.
There we go. Beautiful. You're ready.
Yeah, let's talk.
All right. What do you think of the chains today?
I'm not going to lie, it was difficult. Maybe it's just me. But I don't need the toilet anymore, so that's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. Ask me another question.
Would you say going up is easier than going down?
Going up is a lot easier than going down. Somehow when you go down, you sort of have to negotiate your steps without seeing them. So going up, a little bit easier, I would say.
Awesome. And then, would you say it is worthwhile to come this way? The guide did say you can skip it.
Not the hell, no. So when it splits off, forget about going this way. That is not a 3-star, that is not a 2-star, that is not a 1-star, that is a footing. Just go the other direction. When you see the wind pump, you've gone too far. Bye, Elo.
Okay, we're all up. We're taking a quick 5-minute break, so I thought this would be a good time to show you guys my shoe fix. So, hopefully it's in focus.
20 minutes for normal people.
I have cable tied. There used to be 3, now there are 2. The bottom of my shoe. And as you can see, the sole is completely breaking apart. The actual inside material of the shoe also crumbled. So I've duct taped it. I've shoe glued it. I've done everything I can. So we're on day 3. We'll have to see if this makes for 8 days, but we've got a lot of duct tape, we've got a lot of cable ties, we've got some shoe glue, some grit, spit, and determination. So we're hoping for the best. We've managed the most challenging part of the day. So now it's a bit of a frustrating climb out of this gorge with all these round rocks. And then it's supposedly an easier route from there to the next waypoint. So we'll see, we'll catch you on the trail.
So I think it's 5 Ks to the windmill.
And then 12.
From the windmill, I have no idea. It says on the map 12, so this is
Good to go. Approaching the first chains of the hike again. We don't really count these as chains though, it's a very easy section. But yeah, from here you know it starts getting more tricky. So for us, we're leaving now, so things start getting easier from here. So we made it to the windmill. We've all just kind of sat down to take a bit of a rest. We're having a bit of lunch, and yeah, we're busy refreshing ourselves for the next trek ahead. We're not sure how long it's going to be, and judging by yesterday's estimate of distance, it's probably going to be off. So we're just going to take it easy and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's the boat.
So we're taking a bit of a break now under a tree. It's 1 o'clock. The rest of the group have moved on, but Tammy and I have decided just to take a bit of a load off. Also now in the heat. I must say, I can't imagine how people are able to do this when it's hotter. I mean, we're here in May, and we're very fortunate with the weather. It's nice and cool with a bit of a breeze, but in the sun it still gets very hot, so you could easily dehydrate if it gets even hotter than this. And so this must be really, really challenging in summer. So something that we've also just been discussing is obviously whether you just keep on walking and try and get to the shelter quicker, or whether you just try and enjoy the hike more and take a couple of more breaks. I think obviously depends from person to person. For us, I think it's nice if one gets to take a couple of breaks every now and then, especially if you're not that fit, then you can just recover a bit and you're not over stressing yourself or your body as you're hiking for long periods of time uninterrupted. We're about 12 kilometers in, and from what the map said of the day, it was going to be only 12 Ks for this hike, so clearly that's also out. And from one of the Apple Watches, it showed that plus minus we're probably done 2/3 of today's distance. So again, today's distance must be closer to 18 kilometers or so, and yeah, that means that your hiking days are long. It's a lot of distance that you have to cover. Although the terrain today isn't that difficult after the chains, it is still rolling hills, and with uneven footing, there are a lot of rocks and small pebbles and so on the ground, so it's not a clear path all the way. And that also obviously tires out your feet. So those are things to keep in mind. So I think the big thing about this hike is the distances. And then the undulation of the terrain. Those things together make it a challenge. So I think often people underestimate this hike in the sense of they play it down a bit. Also, I think on the information, although it's listed as very challenging, there's very little information available of how challenging it is, in what ways is it challenging. And they only require you to hand in a medical certificate from your doctor, but I think a lot of people who would pass that medical certificate will still find the hike extremely difficult. So I'm not sure if the doctors also are not aware of the full challenges that this hike has. But obviously you have to think twice before you just come out and do this hike. You really have to be willing to also mentally put up with the challenges such as sore feet, blisters, pain in your shoulders, joints. So these are definitely things that you have to battle with on this hike, and it is not for the faint of heart. So we'll see how long we carry on staying here in the shade, and then hopefully we'll catch up with the others at the hut for day 3. It should be quite a nice one, so we'll see there. Just behind us here we have a tree with a giant sociable weaver's nest in it. You can hear the birds chirping away. It's quite pretty. And the trail moves on here to our right. That's what we're about to tackle. So we've arrived at Hut 3. I think some people already arrived at around just after 1. We arrived at 2 o'clock. And today was actually quite an easy day. Probably from where we took our break, it was another 1.5-2 kilometers to the hut. As you can see behind me, everyone is kind of set up. We're all making coffee, some lunch, pack of soup, that kind of thing. So yeah, so we're chilling, and I'll take you guys around the camp a bit. Hey Kalt, avid hiker, what are you making?
Making some copper soup.
Ah,
butternut soup.
Nice. they say it, I watch the pot. Never boils. But I beg to differ. What are we watching it for?
We are making some classic cappuccino
Ah, very nice.
mixed with amarula, mixed with what else we got here? Condensed milk, and a little bit of this for that extra creamy taste. That's Cremora.
Not cocaine.
Not cocaine.
We're making some really good coffee here. So here we have some nice camp stove espresso, some hot water. We're gonna make some really good mocha java. Oops, there we go. We add our hot water.
Oh, really?
There we go. So we've added one last secret ingredient, which is some. What's it called again, Tammy?
Condensed milk.
There we go. Now go have a sip. Tell us what it's like. Is it Tammy approved?
Very sweet. Which is good for me.
Is that it?
Yeah. It's good.